All right, so when bench pressing, there is a couple of things we want to think about to make sure we're being able to set up our scapula and recruit our back muscles, so mainly the lats, but also setting the shoulders in a healthy position so they don't get injured or take too much pressure from the load. We want to shift that pressure onto the lats, also onto the rib cage and the pectoral muscles, of course, right? So one thing we need to think about is, or the first thing we need to think about, what most people can kind of like get straight away is thinking about when you're setting up, pulling the shoulder blades down, so automatically that expands the chest, expands the rib cage, but also recruits your back muscles, yeah? So engaging your lats, being able to use these muscles to pull down and utilizing them to push the bar or dumbbell away. Also, if we're kind of like here like this, automatically you can see like my shoulders kind of coming in, and this can lead to a lot of discomfort at the shoulder. But if we pull the shoulder blades back down hard towards the back pockets, kind of opens up that space for the shoulders to move a bit more freely, but also for you to use your rib cage and use your lats and use your pectoral muscles, especially coming down on the bottom. Those muscles will get stretched, and that's where you'll benefit from the strength and hypertrophic adaptations. Okay, so the second thing we want to think about when setting up for a bench press or dumbbell bench press is, obviously we've already set the shoulder blades, pulled hard, retracting them down, but we still don't want this elbow path to aggravate the shoulder joint and come out to this really hard 90-degree position. This causes a lot of stress on that joint. What we can do is, when you set up, just think about internally rotating at the elbow and the shoulder, and that will just bring the elbow path in slightly, but also helping you to recruit more of your lats, spreading the chest and rib cage, yeah? So, instead of letting the elbows flare out like this, causing a lot of stress on that shoulder, that front delt, if you just think about shoulder blades back and down, rotating the elbows in slightly to this semi-pronated grip, pulling the elbows down in towards the lats, squeezing the lats, keeping the shoulder blades down, expanding the chest and rib cage, and then pressing through with that same elbow path. So, taking those principles over to the bench press, setting yourself up, shoulder blades retracted, expanding the chest, shoulder blades pull hard and down. So you want your hands slightly outside shoulder width, but same thing as you pull in here. We don't want that elbow coming out on this hard 90 degrees, because that's, you can see my wrist, it doesn't look good. My wrist doesn't like that, it's too much pressure. We want that wrist straight against the bar, so even I could just go a little bit wider there. And the elbow in. So, starting that again. If you just think about pulling the elbows in and following this elbow path, that wrist stays straight against the bar. The elbow path's a lot better.